All right, welcome back to Missing Persons TV. I'm Brian Ladd with my co-host Deborah. Today's Sunday, August 9th, 2009, 11:31 p.m. We are going to be discussing a case we've discussed a lot of times in the past, and this is for Jessica Edith Louise Foster. We have Gail St. John on the phone with us who'll be doing a psychic reading. Again, she's also worked this case several times. I've worked the case, and some other people have worked the case. We have Glendine Grant on the phone with us too. And as always, Deborah Brink. So how's everybody doing?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very much
welcome. I always appreciate it.
And Gail, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, and Deborah, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I am doing great. I know we took a few days off. We all had some fun. We're back to work. This one case we definitely wanted to get to tonight, so we're not covering any other cases tonight. We're gonna do this case again. Glendine's done some work she works every day looking for her daughter Jessie. She has a new YouTube video up. We're gonna put links to all that as well as her websites that she has and her Twitter account. If you look on the bottom of the screen throughout the show, you'll actually see some links up there that will take you to information regarding Jessica Louise Foster and some other information along with human trafficking and a lot of issues to go with that. So let's get started tonight. Glendine, your daughter went missing in March of 2006 from Las Vegas, Nevada, correct?
That's correct, from North Las Vegas.
Okay.
We're from Canada, so she became an international endangered missing person. And it was very soon after she went missing that it looked a lot like it was a human trafficking case. There was a human trafficking task force that said that Jessie's case was had all the earmarks of a human trafficking case right from where they took her when they first took her to the United States from Canada, which were the hubs for human trafficking. They were Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Manhattan, New York, Atlantic City, New Jersey, and Las Vegas, Nevada. And Las Vegas is where they took her last and where she ended up. Jessie was there for 10 months, and she was just getting ready to come back to Canada to go to a stepsister's wedding, to a wedding reception. And she talked to her sister one day several times, probably actually more like about 8 or 10 times they talked and text messaged over the day. And at the end of the day, they ended it up with, we'll talk tomorrow. And at the end of that, the next day, we've never heard from Jessie since. So the very last time we ever talked to Jessie was March 28th. My daughter Crystal talked to her of 2006. March 29th, we never heard from her since.
Okay.
It took quite a while for the police to even take her disappearance. And go ahead.
That's okay. The gentleman that we have on the screen right now, this is the man that invited her to go down to Las Vegas?
That's correct. His name is Donald Vaz, and he is somebody that Jessie knew from Calgary, Alberta. And when Jessie was in Kamloops living here, she'd come back to Kamloops, BC from Calgary, Alberta, where she had graduated when she lived at her dad's house. And when she came back, he started phoning her and asked her to go on a trip, and it was the first trip, the one to Fort Lauderdale. It made me a little uncomfortable, but I didn't really get any red flags or anything really stood out. However, when he asked her to go on a second trip right after that to Manhattan and Atlantic City, I was extremely worried about his ulterior motives, and I even asked Jessie point blank what his ulterior motives might be. And then at the time that she was supposed to come home and they ended up taking her to Las Vegas, that's when I really didn't like it. Now, Jessie was 20 years old when this happened. She was by all means not a child. And even though, we have a close relationship and I voiced my concerns and that I didn't like it, she was very good at telling me how, I was worried for nothing and everything was okay. This is normal things that young girls do. They definitely always make their families think everything's okay. In Jessie's case, though, they definitely weren't okay. After she went missing, we found out that she had been beaten and hospitalized, and she had been arrested. And at the time that she disappeared, everything but her hairdryer and her makeup went missing with her. which when you look at pictures of Jessie and you see how she always had her hair done and wore makeup, you know that leaving those things behind would not be something that a girl like Jessie would do. A girl like Jessie, meaning that she's young and fun-loving and she likes to dress up and look pretty, and so if she was packing up all of her belongings to go somewhere, those would not be the 2 items that she would leave behind. So right from the beginning, her disappearance was rather unique, whereas she was here one day, gone the next. The things we found out just didn't add up to anything of the Jessie that we knew. In all the 20 years that Jessie had been my fun-loving daughter, she'd never been in trouble. She'd never crossed paths with the police. Even as a teenager, you know, sometimes teenagers can get into a little bit of trouble growing up. They might be at a party, or I just never had that kind of trouble with Jessie. And Jessie was always very close with her siblings and myself, so it always stood out to me that she kept in close contact with us for 10 months and then overnight just simply stopped all contact. So there's our own reasons also why we know Jessie, something definitely happened to Jessie. We know Jessie didn't choose to leave. We also know that Jessie, if she had an opportunity in the last over 3 years, she would have contacted one of us.
Okay.
So therefore, we are left to know that she just can't do that. She's just not able to.
Who is Peter Todd?
Now, Peter Todd was somebody that Jessie was introduced to shortly after she went down to Las Vegas. She became involved with him as far as they were dating, and then they started to live together in a big home out in North Las Vegas. And when Jessie went missing, Jessie had told us that she was engaged to Peter Todd. She had a nice, beautiful, big engagement ring on, and she was looking for wedding dresses. Since then, we found out that Peter Todd was not Jessie's fiancé in his eyes, that Peter Todd actually has a wife, Trish Van Arsdale, and that Peter Todd liked to make Jessie think that they were going to get married. Everything that was done to Jessie or that happened to Jessie in that time frame was just like they were playing out I guess you could say a sequence of events that they reeled her in, just like unfortunately what happens with girls in situations like this. Okay. When they reel them in, I mean they take them to nice places and they treat them all well, and then they set down some rules and regulations, and if the girls don't follow, the girls are abused and treated quite badly. Okay.
Now, basically they introduce them to, you know, a really nice fancy lifestyle. They tell them all kinds of things like, I'm going to marry you, I love you, and all this kind of stuff, when in fact they know that they're lying. They're abusing them, really. And then they get them into a situation they can't get out. And then basically they do whatever they want with them because they consider them just like any other thing, just like drugs or anything else, they traffic them.
That's right, they traffic them and they're property to them.
Exactly. I know that you and Deborah have spoken hours on the phone together, and you've done a lot of research looking through Craigslist and looking into a lot of cases of human trafficking. Deborah, do you want to let us know what you found out as far as human trafficking goes and how that relates to Las Vegas?
Well, I don't have any specific statistics available right now.
That's fine. Just the information that we've been talking about.
Information from working the human trafficking cases and researching them. Like Glendine was talking about specific hubs. Las Vegas is definitely one of those hubs. There's other cases, you know, from that general area too. And it just, as far as human trafficking goes, it seems like there's not as much awareness out there. There's a whole lot more coming recently, and I think a lot of that is from the work that Glendine's been doing. I mean, she's bringing a huge awareness to it on the net.
Well, definitely, with her websites, findjessie.com, jessiefoster.ca, her Twitter account. She writes a daily newsletter, too, I believe. Is that correct, Glendine?
That's
daily,
correct. I have a newsletter. It's not daily, but I do write it. I tried to do it weekly, but then with a bunch of trouble with my email provider, and it faltered a little bit, but it's back up again. And I try to update Jessie's case or put more information on her case in each one, but I also include other missing persons in my newsletter. Many of them are parents or daughters or siblings who I've become friends with, who's have an unsolved case in their family, either a murder or a missing person. And I try to do what I like others to do, and that's help us spread the word about our missing. Anytime I can, I'm more than grateful to do it. There's just too many missing people for us to cover them all. So, I kind of look at it this way. There's lots of different avenues that we can take, and if we can get our loved ones on one or two or 10 of them, then we've got that many more people looking. And you guys are just one of the more awesome ways to do it. A lot of people, follow you guys and they're fans of you guys, and I'm just really grateful that you guys are all there helping Jessie. I just can't even sometimes thank you enough.
Oh, you're very much welcome. You've learned a lot. Unfortunately, this had to happen, but you've learned a lot on how to get the word out there about a missing person. And as you know, a missing adult is really, really hard for people to pay attention to. But you've broken those boundaries, and you've had her appeared on a lot of TV shows, a lot of newspapers. I'm showing a clip right now. What kind of advice would you give to somebody? Because we've talked to a lot of people where they really get frustrated that their son or daughter has gone missing, and unfortunately they happen to be an adult, and a lot of people think adults really aren't missing. They want to be, and that's really not the case.
That's right.
What advice?
I don't know how they come to the conclusion that so many people choose to go missing, but
I don't know.
You just have to be adamant, and you have to. One thing that I was told flat out, and it was almost to me, I guess, like a dare, I guess is the only way I can think of it. The North Las Vegas police told me flat out that Jessie may likely have chosen to go missing, and if she did, when they find people like this, they always tell us to tell the parents that they didn't want anything to do with them. I said, well, that's not going to be the case with my daughter. I can tell you right now that something happened to her. Somebody's taken her. He said, well, another thing I just want you to know is that the media is not going to be interested in your daughter's case. There's nothing to this case. It's just simply not going to happen. And I took that as my dare to make the media take notice of my daughter's case. I don't know how I did it. I'm up in Canada. She went missing in the United States, and I'm computer literate. I just took what I had, and I guess you could say I ran with it. I don't even know how to explain it. I just became adamant. I got Jessie's story told on Montel Williams, but it took a year of emails, and by that I mean almost daily.
That's how you did it, though.
Sometimes
it's
persistence. I would give up.
Persistence.
And I did it, and
right.
It's not going to be something that I'll stop. As a matter of fact, today, E! Entertainment is airing for the first time just tonight, the documentary that they taped just early summer, or maybe it was late spring actually. It's called Young, Beautiful, and Vanished. Jessie's story's in it, Jennifer Kessie's story's in it, there's several other cases in it. It's a 2-hour documentary, and I actually was told initially they weren't airing it until the 26th, so I didn't really get the word out about it. Luckily, though, they are going to air it several different times throughout the next week. So E! Entertainment, Young, Beautiful, and Vanished, tune in and watch it. There's many different cases, but Jessica's case is one of them, and we're very grateful that her story is still, as of today, being told in the media, and that's something that you just can never be too grateful for.
So it's
well, as far as human trafficking, sorry.
No, go ahead, Deborah.
As far as human trafficking goes, I know I've discussed human trafficking with people. A lot of people don't really understand what human trafficking is, that so many people like to think that those that are stuck in human trafficking want to be there, or that they can just easily walk away. Can you tell us what you know about that, Glendine?
Well, the thing is, the people that profess to understand and to feel so terrible what's happening with Jessie's case, ultimately, so many of them end up with this but, or it's too bad, and as soon as I hear those words, I know what's coming. It's too bad that she got wooed by this, blinded by this, the glitter. It's sad that she can't just leave. And I realize at that point, as much as they want to understand human trafficking, they absolutely don't. You don't have those options. You have been either drugged or brainwashed or both. And you have either been convinced completely that if you pick up a phone or talk to somebody, you know, they're going to find out, and either yourself or most likely another member of your family is going to have the same thing happen to them, or worse. They're going to go and they're going to take a member of your family and they're going to kill them. And it's enough, over and over and over and over, it's enough to make these girls do whatever they need to do to survive and to protect their family. In Jessie's case, Jessie has three siblings. She's got a mom and a dad and a stepmom and a stepdad, and she's got a lot of family. And I could see Jessie doing anything in the world that she had to do to protect this family. We may not have known what was going on to Jessie while she was down in Las Vegas, but definitely Jessie knew what was going on, and that's why she had things stored in a locker in Calgary, in a storage locker. That is why she kept in such contact with us continuously. Okay.
Thank you, Glendine. Let's get to some information here that we've been working on, that Gail's been working on throughout the past year, I would say, even more than that, I think. We have Gail St. John on the phone with us right now. Gail, are you there? Gail. She may have her mute on here.
Okay. I'm here.
Okay. Thank you for being with us tonight. You've worked on this case. I've worked on this case. We've come up with some things alike, some things that are different. We've been well, I've been coming up with stuff, and maybe possibly she could be actually in Mexico at this time, in possibly Tijuana. I have your notes. You worked this case back in November of 2008, and then you worked it again in February of 2009. Would you like to give us any psychic insight that you may have into this case right now? Are you able to pick up anything?
About this, you know, I still think we're on the move with this case.
Okay, Gail, do me a favor. Do me a favor, real quick.
Yes.
We lost your audio for a second. Could you go ahead and repeat right from the beginning?
Okay, talking about, I was listening to Glendine.
Okay.
And as I was listening to her, I was just kind of making a note of everything that I was feeling and seeing in this case. And I still feel like we're on the move. I'd like to say that it's stabilized, because if she's in a stable place, yeah, we could you know, probably get I feel like they're still on the move.
Okay.
Looking at it right now, actually I feel like we're back in the U.S., so that may be a plus for this case.
Okay, back in the U.S., do you know about where? I have your notes.
Like,
do you want me to read any of these notes for you?
Well, the one thing I'm feeling right now, I'm on a coastline.
Okay. Now you're on a coastline, but
coastline.
Okay. So, East Coast, West Coast. Do you know?
West Coast. I feel like it's come in perhaps around the Texas or not Texas, California border.
Okay.
Southern California.
Okay, with Mexico. Well, so
right. Correct.
Well, that is the Tijuana area, though. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That's the area.
But we're actually on U.S. soil at this point.
Okay, well, that's highly probable, because there are a lot of cases of trafficking right across that border. They actually have the border station there. We contacted them and sent them some pictures to see if they noticed anything, but so far nothing's come up with that. I'm saying it's very possible that she could be going back and forth across the border. Just no one's not noticed anything.
Well, the one thing I'm seeing is I feel like they're legally, in a sense, legally bringing some of them across the border now with, when I say legally, it's legally illegal, with fake ID and different things. And they're able to get them back and forth without any issues.
Okay, so they've given her fake identification.
Correct.
Right, okay. Glendine,
So I definitely feel back on U.S. soil.
Okay. Glendine or Deborah, any thoughts on that?
Well, I've always felt that they've been moving her around. Sometimes, though, well, of course, it's impossible to even have a clue where. But the one thing that I always felt is that they've kept her around the West Coast for some reason. I mean, they had her on the East Coast, and they brought her here, to the West Coast, to Nevada in the West. I wouldn't even be surprised if, they're bringing her back up into Canada. I just wish that I knew. All I know is that in my heart, I just feel that she's still alive. That's the one thing that I carry with me, and I guess you could say it's the thing that makes me go out every day, is that I feel that she's alive and out there. I have no idea where.
Gail.
I wish that the police had given us some sort of hints at some point.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any type of vehicle, numbers or anything, or anything that can help?
The thing is, and boy, I'm stepping out there because to me it looked like I actually saw a vehicle that was used, and it looked like it looked to me to be a Honda. Nothing fancy, just a kind of normal looking vehicle. Looks silver to me, and the biggest thing that bothered me is I think I caught just a partial of the plate when I saw it, and the plate had an 8-1 on it.
8-1? Yes.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is possibly the connection. I got the highway number here. I believe there's two or no. Deborah, do you remember how many border crossings there were? California, Mexico.
No, I don't remember. I think
there were three. We posted those addresses on there. Okay, so a silver Honda with a number 81 possible for a plate, 2-door, 4-door. Do you know?
Looks like a 4-door to me.
Okay. Anything else?
The one thing that's bothering me here as I sit here, I've been going over this and trying to figure out what it is, but it looks to me as if the person that was driving and then there was a passenger, and I've got to say it this way, my house is non-Caucasian, not black, but had a darker complexion. But I'm looking as if it's Mexican, and it's not Mexican either. And possibly one of the words I heard was Saudi.
Like
so
S-A-U-D-I?
I'm wondering how the involvement is here.
Like Saudi Arabia? Saudi,
yeah.
Like that? Okay. Okay, Glendine, does that mean anything to you at all?
Well, no, but of course, they, just from other kind of cases, other cases that I'm aware of, I do know that it doesn't take very long before trafficking victims are taken over to other countries worlds away. Saudi Arabia, of course, would be one. I know that.
I mean, Saudi Arabia is being named. I think she meant that's a person's name, right?
Well, I would. I mean,
hold on, wait a second. Let me clear that up.
It's also something that people have brought up many times, that, young, beautiful blonde girls are taken over to Saudi Arabia a lot.
Okay, Gail.
Where there's a lot of very rich people.
Yeah, were you referring to the place or a person? I thought you were referring to a name. What are you referring to?
The people looked to me, and the name that I got when I was trying to figure out the nationality was Saudi Arabian.
Okay, so Glendine, that might be, it might be, like Middle Eastern descent then.
Correct.
So what I'm saying, Glendine, is it might not be she's in Saudi Arabia. It might be that the person she was describing was of Middle Eastern descent.
Saudi Arabia,
right.
yeah,
They're definitely in the trafficking business, and definitely associated with Jesse at this point.
The notes I got from you on February 25th of this year, Spanish-speaking island and White Beach, sand, stuff like that, and with cliffs. Now, if that area I believe we were talking about was kind of close to the area you're talking about right now. It was off the coast. It was an island. I think we actually had the map up there. So it's it's highly possible maybe something like that. If in the trafficking thing, let's say okay, well, let's take her. She's feeling bad or something. Let's take her on a little quick vacation or something like that. I mean, that's highly possible that something that one of Peter Todd's friends, Glendine, or somebody like that would do occasionally, correct? To cheer her up, to keep her from trying to run away. You think?
Well, I know that it was earlier that month. Jessie did go to California.
Okay.
After she'd had a really big fight with Peter Todd. So I think that they were worried that she was capable of taking off.
Okay. Thank you, Gail. If you get anything else, please let us know.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I know you got an early day tomorrow, so thank you. Anything else going on with you? I know you're always out looking for people. Gail?
I didn't catch what you said.
Oh, I said, is there anything else going on with you? I said, you're always out looking for missing persons. I was wondering, I know you got a couple cases coming up. One of them you won't want to talk about, Jennifer Kessie. I know you...
Absolutely, yeah. I'm back on the Jennifer Kessie case. I had to, put that on hold for a little while because I had some other things come up with the other cases. But I'm back on the Kessie case, and I know that they have actively been searching for Kessie again, as well as actively searching for Tracy Ocasio, so I've been following the news on that, but I'm talking about raising funds. I am going back. I take the dog back to Florida and work on this.
Okay. And your website is www.psychicgail. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling everybody listening. That's her website if you want to see what Gail's doing. Gail has a Twitter, too. That's twitter.com/psychicgail. Is that correct, Gail?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Gail. We appreciate your help.
You're welcome.
Okay. Glendine, back to Peter Todd. Let me get his picture back up and make sure this is the right guy right here. I got another photo of him. That's Peter Todd, right? And there might be a...
let me go. My page went down
here.
That's okay. Let's see.
We have the dreadlocks.
Todd's looking at the chat. Yes, that's Jessie with Peter Todd.
Okay, we know he knows something. Deborah, we know he knows something. What can we do to make this guy talk? He knows something. He might not know exactly where she's at right now, but he could find out. What do we do?
I just think there has to be a way to put pressure on him. I wondered if there's a way that we're able to do that online that, would turn the heat up on him or what. I'm not sure.
Glendine, what do you think he's done? Real quick, there's one thing I wanted to say to you. Of all the dream drawings and stuff that I've done, I have not done anything that Jessie's deceased, and I know statistically,
that's right.
There's a good chance that she could be. I pray to God it's not. I do know that you have to deal on a daily basis with them discovering bodies all over Nevada, and California, and everything else, and then having to wait on DNA. And there's a lot of bodies out in Nevada, unfortunately. But I don't think, and it looks to me like Gail doesn't think, and some other psychics that we've had on, none of them's getting that she's deceased. I mean, she's in a vehicle, she's alive. No. So that's good news in a way.
And that's been like that every single one of you that I've spoken to. It's very, very few people that have ever said anything about Jessie not being alive.
Okay.
And I completely agree. Jessie, I feel her alive in my heart.
Okay.
I just do.
So back to Peter Todd. Any suggestions? How do we? I know you've talked to him, correct?
I haven't talked to him for some time, but I used to talk to him, and then he would change his phone number, and I would catch up to him because I have people that are friends with him who actually send me messages when he changes the phone number or moves or does something. So it's kind of ironic. He will say, "How did you get my number?" And of course I don't tell him. And then he'll try again to, get out of my grasp. So I haven't talked to him for a while, but I know that when time comes, I can always get a hold of him. He just doesn't like it.
Okay.
He just doesn't like it. So my phone him.
Okay. Now I've known you've done a couple of YouTube videos specifically for Jessie. We'll put those links up there too. I know that you have been posting those in the forums too. I have her birth certificate, or the thing that you just sent me, the when she was born. When was she born?
When she was born, yes. No. She was born on May 27th, 1984. She's 25 years old.
Okay. It's, I realize that this is to everybody listening. Jessie Foster is an adult. A lot of people like to prejudge, missing adult cases, especially when they involve prostitution and stuff like that. And let me tell you something. We've done a lot of research, and so has a lot of other people, including the CIA. You can actually go to CIA.gov in the United States. Well, you can go anywhere in the world, but the CIA, they have statistics on human trafficking cases, and what actually goes on in the mind of the human trafficker and their victims. It is completely like you were to take somebody and inject them with some type of serum to complete mind control over them. It's not their fault. It's not their fault, and I think that when people stereotype this so much, they don't really spend the time looking into these cases. These women,
exactly.
It's not their fault. And that's all. That's my 2 cents worth. Thank you for being on. I know you made the video. I know you said a lot of things. Let me put her picture up here, and then you can end the show, Glendine.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You know how I always appreciate you guys calling me up. I always appreciate it. And I'm still trying to get us to get you guys a bounty hunter. He's got my message, and he's going to be getting back to me.
Okay. Thank you. And if Glendine's listening, I'm sorry, Glendine. If Jessie's listening, and hopefully she is somewhere, and if she is, I hope that she finds some way to get a message to you. What do you want to say to her?
Oh, I just want to say, Jessie, don't be afraid that people are going to be judging you because those people we're not worried about. Don't be afraid that, we're going to be not looking for you, and we haven't stopped looking for you. You have niece, you have a nephew, you've got another little baby coming. Jenny's going to have another baby. We need you back. We need you back. Life is too hard to go on without you. We're trying. We're doing what you would want us to do, Jessie. We're trying to carry on, but it's really hard without you. We just need you back. So many people know about you. So many people are looking for you. I just want her back. That's all, Brian. You know how much I want her back.
Yes, we do. Okay, thank you, Glendine. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
You're very much welcome. Again, her website is findjessie, that's JESS.IE.com, or Jessie Foster, FOSTER.ca. It's not .com.ca. Or you can go to Twitter.
Yeah, yes.
Twitter.com/missingjessie.
Yes.
Get that right? Okay, thank you, guys.
That's great. That's correct. Thank you all.
You're welcome. We will be on tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Missing Persons TV. Good night.